Sounds good.
Okay, I think we are ready to start.
Great.
The brakes. Do you want to feel that right? Pump up the value. Pump up the value. Do you want to feel that right? Pump up the value. Do you want to feel that right? The brakes.
Hello, Tom.
Hi.
How are you?
Doing great. Thank you.
Yeah, super
How are you?
nice. Super. I'm nice too. I'm just super happy to have you today, and I'm a huge fan of your work. Really fun to see, really smooth. So thank you for taking time for the community. Hello,
Of
everybody
course,
in the
happy
chat.
to do it.
Yeah, and nice shirt, of course.
Oh yeah, thank you. Gotta rep the brand, right?
Yeah. So for all the people that are discovering your work, can you tell us a bit more about what you do? Because maybe a lot of people just discovered you lately with your latest video, but we want to know more about you.
Sure. Well, I'm a just freelance motion graphics CG artist in Minnesota, United States, and I've been freelance for the last few years now. My background is kind of just generally in video production, but yeah, the last few months I've been kind of trying to put out a lot of animation work just for fun mostly, and then recently it's kind of gotten a bit of a following, so that's awesome. Thanks everybody.
Yeah, that's really nice. Your animation are really, really smooth and fun to watch. And I
Thanks a lot.
see you play music too.
A little. I'm learning.
Yeah, that's nice. So, what's your latest work, professional work, beside the things you show on Instagram lately?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, mostly just kind of, I mean, I've been trying to do a daily animation. I'm at like day 95, 96 right now, I think, something like that. But beyond that, I do a lot of kind of corporate kind of motion graphics work. Not as fun as like the stuff I'm trying. The Instagram's kind of more of a creative outlet, and kind of doing the fun stuff versus just kind of more boring motion graphics, kind of a lot of title stuff. But I'm getting more into kind of corporate 3D, like product rendering, stuff like that. Or I actually have a background in accident reconstruction, so doing 3D car accidents for like attorneys and stuff like that, just recreating car crashes, basically.
It'll be fun to do.
It could be interesting, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so I see you experiment a lot. Do you have personal tips for person like discovering your work and wants to achieve the kind of things you do?
Sure. Well, I rely a lot. Well, for one thing, I use Cinema 4D, as you can maybe tell. Um, but I think like a lot of the work I've been doing lately, I've been using a ton of X particles. This is an amazing plugin for particle effects and stuff in Cinema 4D, which is just like super fun. So I've been experimenting with that a lot. And then I use the Octane renderer. Beyond that, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I have any specific tips for, getting exactly, but it's just kind of having fun with it, I guess.
Yeah, just try, and yeah, try new things. Maybe you already have maybe new clients that reach you because of your new work. So yeah,
Yeah,
just
for sure. I think after the bowling video, uh, I've definitely heard from a decent amount of new people, which has been great.
yeah, that's definitely great, and that's a great tips maybe for beginners, like try to push new things and show new things to get new works.
Yeah, and I think just this all happened because I was putting stuff out there, right? So like the last few months, I just decided that I wanted to make something every day, just to kind of post and kind of get the creative juices flowing and make some just the feeling of creating something every day is pretty awesome. And then just like putting it out there and over time, if you force yourself to get into that creative mindset and like make something and just even if it sucks, like it's really good for I think just your overall growth as an artist and stuff like that. So and in this case it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, and I think maybe even more in our field because you always
Oh
have
yeah,
new technology, new things to try, and
definitely.
that's how.
Definitely. Yeah, I was at the NAB show this year, and I've been going there. I've been going there a few times in Las Vegas, and there's a big meetup of motion graphics artists and Cinema 4D people, and just everything video related basically. But every time I go there, I always come back and think like, oh yeah, I should have like a better social kind of presence for the stuff I'm trying to make, because that's like how you get seen, right? So this year I actually did it. The last few years I've been like, yeah, I'll make something, and then I just do like one or two, and then I fall off. But um, this time it's stuck for at least a little while. I don't know if I can keep this up every day for continuing, but it's a lot of work, but it's fun.
Yeah, that's a great challenge, and yeah, I think practice every day is really nice to remember and make things coming from conscious to subconscious, so it's become easier to practice every day.
Yeah, definitely.
We have already a few questions in the chat. Someone is asking if you do all your themes in Xparticle, or do you also use other softwares like Houdini?
I've never used Houdini. I'm scared of Houdini. Everything I've heard about it seems terrifying, but I mean, amazing. You can obviously make a lot of crazy stuff with that. But yeah, pretty much everything. I only really know Cinema 4D, and for particle stuff, I pretty much only do X particles because it's so flexible. I feel like I've still only scratched the surface of that thing too, because like there's so much with that you could do.
Yeah, definitely. And another question by Christopher. By the way, hello guys in the chat, Sam, Luis. Um, how did you start freelancing?
Um, well, initially, I started freelancing like right out of college with a marketing company in like a local marketing company. And I pretty much initially just did a bunch of cold emails, just be like, hey, I can do animations. Like, do you want anything? And eventually, like one, got back to me and was like, yeah, we could use something. That ended up being probably my longest running client. I still work for them, 8 years later. But beyond that, so after that though, I started working at a video production company. And then after being there for a few years, I decided I wanted to go back into full-time freelancing, which I kind of slowly transitioned into. I was lucky enough to have a job at the time, so I kind of started uh, going part time with that, and then also that video production company became my client too. So it's that said, it's tough. Starting freelance, starting to freelance kind of sucks because obviously it's just a lot of trying to find work, and I feel like with a lot of artists and a lot of like people in this field, we're not always the best at just like putting ourselves out there and just we're not a lot of us probably aren't extroverts necessarily, so trying to get out there and find work is hard. And I feel like honestly, like I've been doing full-time freelance for about maybe 3.5 years now, and only in this past year have I started feeling like pretty comfortable with it. Like it can be tough, but it's rewarding though. I like freelancing a lot.
Yeah, I definitely trust you. So Luis from Doxia Studio is telling you, don't be scared of Houdini. Once you get in it, it's great.
Cool. I'll check it out someday.
Another question from Hassan. He asked if you will do maybe courses or if you have any advice to start designing and motion designing.
I don't have any immediate plans to do any tutorials, but if there's anything specific people would want to know, I'd be happy to talk about something. I don't know, like I feel like most of the stuff, like I've learned everything from tutorials, you know, so it's like I don't know, I'm just repeating other people's stuff, but if there's any questions people have specifically, I'd be happy to go into anything.
Yeah, so and do you have few channels or few people you started with and maybe you want to recommend?
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, when I first started learning Cinema 4D, I started, I think, like many people, with Grayscale Gorilla. They're fantastic certainly for beginners and even for advanced users and stuff. Like they have like a really great course for just starting out with Cinema 4D. David Ariev, I've learned a ton from that guy. He's super cool. I've met him a few times. He's really nice, and he makes just incredible, mostly Octane related tutorials, which is the renderer that I choose to use for the most part. And I've learned like so much from that guy. And EJ Hassenfras is great. I don't know. There's tons.
Yeah, there's more and more, and
Yeah.
even a few years ago, I remember when I started Cinema 4D. If you type Cinema 4D, you only find like text animation, and in few years, it's like you can find anything. Like just
it's blown up. Yeah, I mean that's one of the things that I just love about the Cinema 4D community in general, is that like it's really well supported. There's tons of people like making stuff, making tutorials, and putting just information out there. And it's it's awesome.
yeah, and really intuitive software.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All the animation we saw in your show were like made with the Cinema 4D Octane render and After Effects for the other part.
Yep. Yeah. I've been using Octane for a few years now, and it's awesome. But yeah, I think pretty much everything was probably rendered in Octane.
Okay, and for the people starting, can you like explain your choice or talk a bit about your point of view about rendering stuff?
Just like my choice of like using Octane or using just what do you mean?
Yeah, I guess about using Octane.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, when I first saw it, I was like in love. Like, it took me a long time to finally buy it, but the speed at which you can iterate, where you can just kind of make quick changes and see your lighting in real time, and you can really just spend a lot less time waiting for it to render to see what you've just done, which is so helpful. I think also just like getting a close to finished product right out of the renderer is great. Like you can apply a LUT to it, or just like do some in-camera effects. Like you can do some post-processing like in the actual Octane camera. So once it's rendered out, you could be done without having to do any more compositing. Usually I do a little bit, but not that much. I do a little bit of color correction sometimes, or in After Effects, or sometimes I'll add like a lens flare or stuff like that. But what I really like about Octane is just that it's really fast to render just by itself, but just like once you have the finished product out of there, it's like done. So that's like
yeah,
pretty great.
I think a lot of people love to like see inside the work of people. Maybe can you share your screen and show like
Sure.
how you work, or maybe show
Yeah,
some projects?
I have the bowling video or the bowling animation. I can pull it up in a second.
Oh yeah, right on time with the question, because someone just asked. I don't know if you already answered this because I wait late on the stream. This animation with machine, like the one with bullying.
Nice.
So right on time.
Can you see it? Is this on?
Perfectly, yes.
Great. Okay. Yeah. So here's the actual scene. it's honestly like a really simple scene. I downloaded this. I didn't actually make this this robot. I downloaded it off of a site, which I can pull up. Just free3d.com. This like nice rigged robot. I textured it. I used a bunch of Grayscale Gorilla's. I think it's like everyday material pack for some of like the wood texturing and a lot of it. I mean, yeah, it's really simple. Is there anything specific you want to see? I mean, I could just like go around the scene a little bit, but the whole thing is just this basically. And I do like a physics simulation once it actually leaves the oops, where is it? Leaves the arm. It turns into an actual physics. Or it turn on dynamics once it leaves the arm and actually knocks down everything.
Yeah, that's great.
I had actually a lot of questions on Instagram and on Twitter and wherever it was posted. Basically, it's like because there's like a weird thing that happens when it starts spinning and it gets all like warped. If this will go, hold on a second. My computer's actually kind of slow.
Yeah, maybe while it's starting to render, we have a question from
Okay.
Mikhail asking, do you have any dream project or client you'd like to work for?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know, man. I mean, it'd be fun to just do, yeah. Not really, I guess. I mean, it'd be fun to work on like maybe some cool music videos, something like that. I don't necessarily like I don't do a ton of character animation. Like all the character stuff I do is like with Mixamo and just like usually with just motion capture data. So like I probably wouldn't do like I don't want to like work for Pixar or something like that. But yeah, just some like cool music videos, make some fun graphics. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm open to whatever.
Till it's fun to do.
Exactly. So anyway, I'm not sure if I'll actually do this on screen, but there was a weird thing that happened with the ball where it started like basically the motion blur was screwing up this thing, and it was like a mistake later. I didn't think anyone would actually see it, so just, later on, Peter was pointing like, wait, why is it like getting all smushed? That's weird. Anyway.
Yeah, that's also great to show this part of the project. That's always interesting to know the how it worked and how you came up with the idea, even with the limitation and
yeah,
stuff.
for sure. I mean, again, it was just trying to hold on, get back. Should I just keep this up? I don't care. Let me see here. Yeah, just going to just trying to make something every day. I guess it's you have that limitation for sure, and I came up with the idea for that one just like that afternoon, and it took me probably like 4 or 5 hours to make it, and then like rendered overnight, and then like it just exploded. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, now let's make it every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a lot of people are enjoying this animation, and Luis from Doxa Studio is telling you, great scene, man. It looks like a real world. And
Nice.
same as well for the baseball one.
Oh yeah, I could pull that one up too if you want to see it. Yeah, the baseball one. I mean, yeah, I just made that one because everyone liked the first one. But same deal, just kind of. This one I added a chord though because everyone was complaining that there wasn't a chord. This one I probably did like I probably did this in a really weird way in terms of like how I got the balls to move because I have 2 X particle sets of one spawning balls from the actual thing, and then they get killed right as they hit the bat, and then another particle system spawns them into the other one. That was probably not the most efficient way to do it, but I never I'm the only one working on this, so it's like fine.
Yeah, it works pretty well, and I think it's fun to see more and more animation in Cinema 4D because a few years ago it was really a lot of still frames and less animation. So I think people not coming from motion graphics are discovering a new world because now everybody like can share
Oh
small
yeah,
fun animation.
for sure. And I think, with just all the new GPU renders and stuff like that, and I'm really interested to see what Cinema is going to do with Redshift now that they acquired it and stuff. But I think with the GPU renders, like it makes it so much faster. Like a lot of the stuff just wouldn't be feasible without it, to be honest. I mean, I think at this like quality, it would be tough.
Yeah. Did you had the chance to try Redshift?
I've actually never used it. I've heard a lot of great things about it though. So I mean, I don't know if they're planning on including it in the next version or if there'll be some sort of deal, but I'd love to try it out.
Yeah. A question from Jis. Do you find yourself going into the rabbit hole too often?
Into the rap, like,
I don't know what it
how do you
means.
mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
Jis. What kind of rabbit hole? Real ones or
Uh,
creative ones? I don't
yeah,
know.
I mean, sure. I mean, certainly on projects like, you know, I, I, I guess like you can always like you can always continue working on a project. I suppose. I think with giving yourself a deadline, like doing a daily like that, like you can't. At a certain point, you just have to be like, "Yep, all right, this is done," even though it's not perfect. Uh, but if I didn't have those deadlines, absolutely, I could just keep on working. You can keep on refining and refining a project until it's
Yeah.
until it's like no difference. But
Yeah, so another person is asking like how to start. So I will again like copy paste the few channels like Grayscale Goya, Hey Design, and basically I think just now typing beginner cinema 4D tutorial, you can find a bunch of stuff, and
yeah,
that's
definitely. And
great.
and if you have Cinema 4D and you have, I know you can get like the access to Cineversity, which has a lot of great stuff on it too.
Yeah.
Um, like they have, I mean, incredible, like huge amount of work, huge amount of tutorials on there, which is pretty awesome. And like lynda.com, that kind of stuff. I mean, there's a wealth of information out there.
Yeah. So and it in terms of things you like, do you attend to some events? Do you have particular things you do around your work related to motion graphics?
Sure. Well, yeah. I mean, like I mentioned before, I usually, well, the last few years I've been going to the NAB show in Las Vegas, the National Association of Broadcasters, which is this huge conference that maybe some of you have been to. And it's really fun. There's like, it's where all the Cinema 4D people go and kind of hang out, and it's a good time. So it's a really good networking opportunity and just like chance to meet all the people. Like it's really cool because you get to like, I feel like as someone who's watched a ton of tutorials, you see all the people that like teach you all this stuff, and it's like, oh, cool. Hey, like thanks for like making my career.
Yeah, you see the people in real. That's always
Yeah, right.
always a fun thing to do.
Yeah, the celebrities of this small subculture, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, and when you start a new project, maybe a professional project, do you have some type of workflow? Do you draw? Do you do like draft in 3D? What's your process like to start a 3D project?
Um, I mean, it sort of depends. I mean, obviously, if it's like a commercial thing, a lot of time I'll be provided with, like a storyboard or sometimes just like assets I can actually use. But if it's just like a creative project for Instagram or just for fun or whatever, I don't really have too much of a specific process, I guess. I mean, a lot of the time, I'll spend a lot of time kind of just like, I have like a list of kind of ongoing, like goofy animation ideas. But a lot of time by the end of the day, I'm like, oh man, I really have to create something. I should start like, I basically just like doodle in 3D I play with X particles or just like come up with some, a lot of the time I'll go on like Turbo Squid and search for free models. Just be like, oh, like what could I do with that? It's like a pretty good resource. Oh, another really good resource. Let me pull it up. I've been getting really into 3D printing lately also. But there's this. Can you see my screen?
Oh yeah,
There's this.
it's like scan the world. Yeah.
Yeah, Scan the World. It's a great resource. I mean, so like if you look at my Instagram, I use a lot of kind of classical models and just kind of they're really good just to play with. And these are all for 3D printing, but they're just 3D models. They're STL files most of the time, so you can bring them into Cinema 4D and play with them. And it's a ton of fun, and it's just there's like thousands of these, so like that's one of the resources that I use a lot. And then yeah, like I said, just Turbo Squid is search for free models or sometimes paid models depending on what you want to do. And I mean, obviously, like for like larger projects, you can buy some really great stuff on Turbo Squid and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's great. And about maybe your lighting and texturing workflow, like how do you
Mhm.
like to work? Do you have like a intuitive workflow, you try things, or do you have maybe an idea in your head and you try to achieve this idea?
Sometimes a bit of both. I mean, sometimes if I'm doing, a more dramatic lighting scene, or I've done some like kind of a little like I don't know, maybe horror related kind of stuff or something like that. Then you want some like cool lighting. I usually have an idea of kind of what I want to do. Get some nice like rim lights on everything, and again, with a lot of the Octane stuff, I've learned so much from David Ariev. So he has some really great lighting tutorials for Octane, and but usually, just try to keep it relatively simple. I try not to make it too crazy. But I'll usually have like a few hidden like rim lights that you turn invisible and just get punch different objects up a little bit. But
Yeah.
most of the time it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and let me ask a question that could maybe help a lot of people starting,
Yeah.
and it's related to your sort of viral video.
Mm.
Now we see more and more like people grabbing videos and sharing. Sometimes it's to promote the artist, sometimes it's to promote the community, sometimes it's to promote a business, and it's art. And I see that you are like having a code like contact me for licensing. Can you explain a bit like for people starting, how do you manage licensing and how do you,
Yeah.
yeah, can you?
That's a good question. Honestly, I still don't know. I'm still kind of new at this. But yeah, with that, I was approached by a few different companies asking to like license my various videos, specifically the bowling one and the bat one and stuff like that. And yeah, like they reached out to me and we kind of had a back and forth, and they sent over a contract. Basically, I'm not sure if it was the right decision. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but I still don't know. I mean, you basically get a percentage of whatever they get the licensing rights, and then they try to sell it to other companies. Uh, that said, like the video's been dispersed at this point, right? So like I don't know who they're going to sell it to at this point. But you know, I'm not sure if it's a great deal, but we'll see, I suppose.
Yeah, again, it's interesting to double check where the video ends because I love the fact that now internet is super open and a lot of people are sharing stuff. And even
Yeah.
myself, I'm sharing stuff and having my
Mhm.
own company. But a few days ago, I just ran into a company selling like computers cloud service, and it's not at all related to our work. And they were like using our works to promote themselves. And I was like,
Oh yeah.
hey, what's the limit between
Yeah,
sharing to promote an artist and sharing to promote real business that's not
for sure.
related?
Well, that was another thing too. I mean, when I first posted the bowling video, I never intended for people to think it was real. Like all my hashtags on it were just like CGI, animation, Cinema 4D, like, tried to make it pretty clear that like it's like an animation, but people immediately just download it and re-upload it somewhere else, and we're like, check out this crazy bowling robot, like look at what robots can do now. And it's like, no, I felt kind of bad, not bad, but just like uh it was weird. Like I didn't want to like make people afraid of robots. I think
That's
I may have.
that's definitely a great accomplishment, like to
Oh,
have
thank you.
your
Yeah, I mean,
work shared.
from an animator's perspective, I mean, it's a great compliment, but
Yeah.
that was never my intention.
Yeah, Mift is asking, she's asking, have you ever done video games project, or do you want to do video games project in the future?
I've never done any video games or video game related projects. I would definitely be interested in it. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know anything about making video games, and I don't really do modeling myself, so I don't know where I would really fit in there. But um, I would be open to it.
Yeah, everybody's thinking about the bullying video games.
Yeah, right.
That's
Yeah. The next Wii bowling game.
yeah. And in the future, what's the most exciting perspective for you to learn? I see you're really into 3D animation, but do you have other things you want to try or test?
I mean, going back to the video game thing and that sort of, I would be interested in getting somehow into the VR and AR sphere, but I'm not totally sure how. Um, but augmented reality and virtual reality stuff is obviously blowing up right now, and that'd be pretty cool to get into. But that said, I mean, I really like 3D. I'm probably gonna keep doing that for a while.
Yeah. In your show reel, I really enjoyed a few little animation you've made, and some are really great. Like you told us that you are doing a lot of Mixamo animation, but for
Oh yeah.
example, like the Star Wars animation, was it animated by you or some kind of automation?
Which one? The Darth Vader dancing or the AT-AT dancing? I have
Yeah,
two.
the big robot, AT-AT, I
Oh yeah,
guess. Yeah.
yeah. Sorry. Uh, yeah, that one was Mixamo. I actually I downloaded a dance from Mixamo, and I basically I rigged up the Chicken Walker robot like a long time ago, and I just had it. So I basically applied the motion capture data to its hips,
Mm.
and then linked its feet to the feet. Like it was an IK rig. I can probably actually maybe I could just bring it up. Just give me a second here. But yeah, I basically just linked the hips and the feet to the hips and the feet of the robot, and then applied the neck rotation data to its head. Uh, so I didn't use all of it, but I used a bit of it.
Yeah, that's nice to know that you can like take human animation and use it for robot and stuff. I never thought about it.
Yeah, that's I've been trying to figure out other ways to like apply that data to other things because yeah, so basically here it is. So I have this rig which I just like kind of squished it to match the perspective of its own legs. So it's like obviously the knees don't work, but it's an IK rig. So if you move, sorry, just a sec. Um, oopsie. You can grab its legs and move them around. It's locked in, so you can't really see it. But I applied the IK for the foot to the foot of the Mixamo rig, and then I just took the data from the neck up here and applied it to the neck down here. So yeah, it's pretty fun, and I'm experimenting with other ways of
Yeah,
taking that data and doing something cool with it.
it looks really great, and I enjoyed another animation that remind I think us of our childhood. It was the Pixar
Oh yeah.
Pixar lump like
Yeah, thank you.
jumping on someone, and this one was Mixamo 2, or because you have like some.
That one was actually it was a Mixamo model, and
Okay.
I believe I used a Mixamo like when he was texting at the very beginning. I used a Mixamo, but actually the rest of that was hand animation. That was keyframe animation.
Yeah, that's nice because yeah, we really can feel the impact and
Yeah.
so and you also sculpt things. Maybe I see your I don't know the English word, chameleon.
Oh yeah, that's my
Gecko.
lizard.
Yeah, lizard.
He's a bearded dragon. His name's Gimli. He's over there. Yeah, I've done a few videos with him because he's really still most of the time, so it's really easy to motion track stuff onto him.
Yeah, that's nice. So it's a real one. I thought it was 3D.
I mean, yeah, it's real. I will say though, for this one, because he was so still, I used the what's it called? The scene reconstruction in Cinema 4D, where I had my phone. This is all taken on my phone, so I just like rotated around him, and there was enough data there because he didn't move at all to actually reproduce him in 3D. So I have like a really rudimentary model of him now made just from the video, which is really cool. Um, it was pretty fun to make. And then it was really that made it really easy to add the hair and add his other props and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's nice to know that it's effective to do that in Cinema 4D, because I was aware of the scene reconstruction, but I never like had the opportunity like to test how accurate it is.
It's pretty cool. I mean, like it's not perfect, but you can get like a pretty accurate scene. I did the same thing for the little forklifts and the little construction vehicles.
Yeah.
Same thing. I made a scene reconstruction of that, and it made it really easy. It makes it just like way easier to like add stuff to the scene, get shadows, stuff like that.
Yeah, and the scene is really interesting because it looks like really realistic. So yeah, it's good to save time sometimes to
Oh yeah.
take real shots and real reference, and also that's why maybe your camera looks so nice on this shot, because you also grab your camera data, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you use the camera data, and that's what makes the scene reconstruction work too. I mean, it sends out a point cloud, and then it meshes those and applies the texture right back to it. I don't remember. I made this a while ago, so I don't remember exactly the full process there, but yeah, it's all based on the 3D tracking data.
Yeah, and also personal question. I see that you have like some 2D stuff. Are you still interested in doing 2D stuff, or are you diving?
Oh yeah, I still do a decent amount of that, just kind of for various corporate clients and stuff like that. It's not the sexiest work, but it pays the bills for sure, and it's not like I don't love it, but I'm very much in my passion lies in 3D, but I still like doing 2D stuff too. It's a lot of fun.
And personal question, and it was a debate with my students and some friends, because I recommend, that's my point of view, but for people like to do like a 2D and a 3D showreel and like send it to agencies just to be sure to catch the right work. But I see you like mixed both. Do you have personal advice for making showreel or point of view if people should make 2 showreel, 1 showreel? Do you have?
I've always done one that showcases just like a little bit of everything, because I kind of market myself as more of a generalist. But there's definitely something to be said. If you want to specialize, then yeah, you should probably have 2 showreels. Like a lot of the places that I've kind of been marketing myself to have been kind of smaller agencies or stuff, areas that would benefit from getting somebody that can do more than one thing. But if you want to be a specialist, if you want to be like if you want to specialize in a very specific topic, then yeah, you should probably have like a different one for whatever you're trying to go for.
Yeah. Mift. I don't know if I pronounce correctly the name Mift. Devs. She's asking, what's your like computer gear? You must have a powerful machine to do this project.
I think it's probably middle of the road. It's not actually. I mean, I have a couple of graphics cards in there. I have a 1080 Ti and a 980 Ti. I haven't upgraded my processor in like 3 or 4 years, so it's I don't even remember what it was, but it's not. It's actually not that. I mean, it's powerful, but it's not. I don't think it's like top of the line or anything like that. Most of my stuff I have to render overnight still. It's a lot of it comes down to just planning, like when you're going to render something and making a render queue if you're rendering a few things, and it's okay. It's a pretty good computer, but it's not like it's not stellar.
Again, question from Michael, but you already answered a bit earlier. Were you really worried about people thinking the bowling animation was real?
I mostly thought it was funny. That said, I mean, I was never trying to make people think it was real. But it was pretty fascinating to see how it spread and how many people did think it was real. And I actually had a couple of people message me on Instagram asking if they could buy the robot. So that was pretty funny.
Yeah, and that's really, we can talk hours and hours about how we can change our vision of the world, because I see more and more like deep face technology and
scary stuff.
So even
amazing, but it's terrifying.
Yeah, it could be easier and easier to make like fake news and stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So where we where we could buy your machine. We know it's real.
You're right.
Yeah. So maybe to finish the live, do you have like few tips and tricks you want to give, or maybe show something you like to do in Cinema 4D, or some techniques you want to share with people?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not sure exactly what I could show. Let's see. I guess I could show just like I've been doing a lot of these like little disintegration effects lately on my Instagram, just of like models and stuff. I could show how to do that. That's pretty easy. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's like something people would want to see, but
Yeah, let's go for it. And of course, people, if you want to follow Tom, we added the link in the description. It's Tom Coben, and on Instagram, Tom Coben, and you can find all his animation. So it's your latest one. No, it's the statue.
yeah, one of the latest. Let me see. What did I post recently? I guess it would be the one before that. No, not the most recent one, but like the face thing, the second one. I've been doing a lot of these kind of X particles disintegration effects, so I can just kind of go through that.
Yeah, and it looks really nice.
Thanks. I'll just do it with a sphere because I don't want to import a huge model because that does slow things down quite a lot. But yeah, the basic idea, if you have X particles, I would pretty much just take an emitter, make it emit from an object, bring your object in. Let's see, go back to make it a shot. So it basically all the particles will emit on the first frame and then no more. I give it no speed, so when you hit play, they just kind of stick to the particle. And I don't want it actually emitting from the polygon center. I want it to be over the area because then it's a little more random. I'll hide that. I'm going to display these so that they're easier to see. Turn on ambient occlusion so you can see them. Oops, I turned up the wrong thing. Let me see here. Give us a few more particles. So yeah, lately I mean, again, I can't give enough love to X particles because it's pretty awesome. But I've pretty much just been adding a turbulence effect. Usually, curl stuff is always awesome for some reason. I just like the way it looks. So basically, as soon as it starts, we can actually give this a fall off, so give it a linear field, so it won't start exploding right away. Oops, wrong way. But this is just pretty basic. Give it a keyframe, move it across. So you can apply this to any model, and then it'll go across and make it go crazy. I also will often use an attractor sometimes for the bidding, certainly for the head one where I kind of made it explode. I gave it a negative value in its force, so it kind of like explodes out. I also did a fall off, so it started only in the forehead, and then the turbulence is applied to that, which then makes it kind of go crazy. And then these, you can, if you have Octane, you can actually just should be able to see those if you add a Octane tag to the emitter. Give it some geometry. Automatically, it'll just bring in a sphere. Those are a little big though, so you can actually bring in your own sphere or any object really. Drop this down, give it a value of 1. Otherwise, it'll be bigger than. If you give it a value of 1, it'll be the same size as the displayed value. And then you drag that into your geometry. And so now they match the same size. Then I usually apply some motion blur, give it some cool textures. Sometimes I'll have them interact with objects in the scene, so you need to apply an XP emitter, or sorry, an XP collision tag to anything you want it to collide with in the scene. But that's kind of the basics of that, I guess. I'm not totally sure if there's anything more specific people want to know. Happy to go into it, but that's kind of basic
Yeah.
rundown anyway.
Yeah, it's really nice for curious people to discover how to do it.
Yeah, and
So
again, like these tools, like I pretty much am only using like a couple of these modifiers. Xparticles has so much to it that you can like do it. Like I'm using the bare minimum here, and you can create some really cool stuff with it. So
yeah, so people, if you have a few questions, it's time to answer few last questions. I guess you answered most of the question.
guess so.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so yeah, super work, and from Mift, she is saying that your work is amazing.
Oh, thanks so much.
So yeah, we can only wish you good luck for your daily animation project.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll have one up later today. So take a look.
Yeah.
Go to at Tom Coben. Check me out.
Yeah, so thank you again for your time. Thank you for displaying inside of your work, and do a breakdown of things and giving advice to the community.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, so see you everybody in the chat, and see you next time.
Goodbye.